The military situation on the Eastern Front has reached a critical juncture as reports indicate the Ukrainian army has been unsuccessful in its attempts to break the Russian siege of Pokrovsk and Mirnograd. Commanders have reportedly ordered a halt to the relief operation, forcing them to consider redeploying troops to other threatened sectors of the line. This development leaves approximately 2,000 Ukrainian soldiers encircled and facing the difficult choice between surrender or maintaining a defense under increasingly impossible conditions. Russian sources claim that this operational failure by Kyiv has allowed Moscow's forces to accelerate their breakthrough toward the strategic city of Konstantinovka. The deteriorating position on the ground appears to be influencing strategic decisions, with unverified reports circulating that the Ukrainian leadership is suddenly moving to de-escalate hostility and may be more open to a negotiated settlement than previously stated. In the diplomatic arena, President Volodymyr Zelensky has formally announced on November 25th that Ukraine is ready to promote the peace framework proposed by the United States. While expressing support for the spirit of the initiative, the Ukrainian leader emphasized his desire to directly exchange views on points of disagreement with President Donald Trump. Responding to the evolving negotiations, President Trump stated from Air Force One that the 28-point plan was merely a conceptual map and that negotiators have successfully narrowed the differences down to 22 points. The United States president also withdrew the controversial deadline that had been set for November 27th, asserting that the timeline remains flexible until a final resolution is achieved. This shift suggests that Washington is fine-tuning its approach to ensure that the peace deal is viable for all parties involved. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov declared Moscow's support for the original draft of the proposal, citing the understanding reached during the recent meeting between President Trump and President Putin in Alaska. However, the Kremlin has issued a stern warning that it will reject any amendments that alter the core principles or the literal interpretation of that initial agreement. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov added that external forces in various countries are likely to attempt to disrupt the diplomatic process as it nears a conclusion. Despite these tensions, the United States has dispatched envoy Steve Witkoff and Army Secretary Dan Driscoll to facilitate talks, although President Trump has indicated he will only meet with his counterparts when the deal is nearly finalized. The revised blueprint reportedly involves complex discussions regarding territorial control and limit on the size of the Ukrainian military, issue that remains sensitive for negotiators in Kyiv. European leaders have reacted with alarm and determination to the prospect of a peace deal that might bypass their security interests. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz delivered a powerful speech to the Bundestag, warning that Vladimir Putin must accept that a total victory in Ukraine is unattainable. Merz insisted that any settlement crafted without the explicit consent of Europe and Ukraine is unacceptable, and announced that Germany would increase its financial aid to Kyiv to over 11 billion euros in the 2026 budget. Similarly, United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer spoke directly with President Zelensky to reaffirm British support and discuss the potential deployment of a multinational force to guarantee security after any ceasefire. These moves highlights a growing divergence between the European need for security guarantees and the rapid pace of United States-led negotiations. Internal disputes within the European Union are further complicating the Western response, particularly regarding the economic aspect of the war. While the European Parliament successfully approved a substantial defense investment program worth over $1 billion to support Ukraine, a fierce competition has erupted over the weaponization of frozen Russian assets. Brussels is pushing for sweeping reparations loan to sustain the Ukrainian economy, but Belgium has blocked the plan, demanding shared legal and financial responsibility among all member states. Amidst this financial turmoil, Sweden is taking drastic steps to enhance its own deterrence capabilities. The Swedish military has requested the acquisition of missiles with a range of up to 2,000 kilometers, arguing that the ability to strike deep into Russian territory is essential to counter Moscow's regenerating military power. If you haven't made it this far, congratulations, you haven't unlocked the truth. I want to ask you a quick question though. With Ukraine failing to break the siege of Pokrovsk and European unity fracturing over frozen Russian assets, Germany's 11.5 billion euro commitment and Sweden's demand for 2,000-kilometer missiles show Europe is preparing for prolonged conflict, not for peace. The question is, why negotiate for peace if NATO is pushing for war? Join the debate. We want to hear your insightful opinion on where this is all heading in our community. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate your support. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Like the video, share this video with friends and family, hit the notification bell, and most importantly, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.